Driving to save the world from the evil Decepticons, the heroic Autobots are led by Optimus Prime. He's more than meets the eye. He's a Rohan in disguise.
Rohan? Who is this guy? Rohan? The one and only Rohan!
Hello everyone and welcome back to The Corner. This week I decided I was going to take a punt at a video that me and Rudy had been talking about. The amazing Rudy Suzu had been talking about some time ago about the combiners and what makes them so special, what makes them cool, who are your favourite sets, so on and so forth. And turn it into a bit of a little mini-series, but with TFN coming up, I thought, let me park that just for a couple of weeks and do it properly. Instead, what I'd like to do is talk to you all about AI, artificial intelligence. And the reason why I've chosen this topic to talk about is because in the last few years, this has become really prominent in everyday life. It's becoming prominent in everything we do, whether or not you realise it. When you book a taxi through Uber, you've got AI going through the systems to make sure that the relevant cab that's closest to you is picked to be able to take your journey. Whether you're booking a pizza on the Domino's website and it's using AI to conduct a search on where the delivery is going to be in the time that you've got there, or whether it's something to do with your Netflix choices on your streaming and you're looking to see what episodes you want to watch of a particular show and it's giving you recommendations of other shows. And it's pretty much everywhere. Everything you do these days has got some form of AI in it, whether it's things that you're trying to find that are like other things you like, or whether it's things that you're trying to do on shopping online and providing advert ideas for you. It doesn't matter. But the point is this, that in the 80s, AI wasn't anywhere, and Transformers was designed as a race of alien robots with artificial intelligence. And although they didn't talk about it in sufficient detail, and actually they didn't really prey upon it because it would have made all the characters very robotic and similar, instead the Hasbro creatives and the people at Sunbow and Marvel decided to give all the characters very unique individual designs, very unique individual characters and voices as a result of that, which made the show and the comic series really interesting and entertaining for us all, and ultimately is what created, in combination with the concept and the actual figures themselves, the lore that is Transformers today. In the meantime, over the years and the decades that have passed since Transformers came out in the 80s, we've had a host of other various different franchises that have come and gone which have done similar things, and while none of them have really touched upon AI in the same manner as Transformers, let's take Ex Machina for a really good example. Those of you who've seen that movie will realise that that's the kind of artificial intelligence we're talking about, something that's coming up in uprising like the Terminator style movies, where it's a case of us versus them. That tends to be one of the big storylines. Whereas Transformers was always an AI, for the Autobots at least, was on our side, and for the Decepticons they had their own ploy, their own plot and plan to take over the world. They didn't really care about humans so much as to say we have to eradicate them. It was just a means to an end of getting something. And so I guess my question is this: now that we are becoming more aware of artificial intelligence and the capabilities that it has, should that be driving the Transformers to a new level, in the sense that should they be having more abilities, should they be having more cognitive thought processes that they did in the 80s, but then also were restricted by human elements? And maybe that has been the case, that it wasn't something that had imprinted onto the writers because that's what they were used to doing, humans. They weren't used to doing artificial intelligence robots in the past. And so I think, the Michael Bay films didn't help at all with this, bringing in the cultural references of the human race, and the useless ones at that, really did bring it on the opposite trajectory to what I'm trying to achieve here, which is, I think that intelligence is something that has been underwhelming in the Transformers franchise for a long time. There are certain characters, don't get me wrong, who do epitomise real intelligence, and you can see that in the likes of Perceptor and Computron, and some of the Shockwave at times, and the rest. But ultimately, would we like to see more of that? I personally would like to see more characterisation of that. Maybe some element of a more robotic being. The Soundwave has done this a few times in Prime and other series where they've not given him a real voice, but ultimately he's become one of those AI type, machine type embodiments which just does what it's needed to do in a very cold and efficient manner. And I think that worked really well. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want the Transformers series to be flooded with these types of characters, but if we had the odd one or two, I think that would be really interesting. What do you all think? Do you think there's enough encompassing of the AI concept and abstract within the Transformers lore, or do you think I'm just talking rubbish? And Rohan, get off the screen, let's go to TFN and enjoy it. What do you think? Let the guys know on the show. Anywho, for another week, I've been Rohan, back to the studio.
Transformers, Rohan's in disguise.